Started. Mm, okay, and I suggest everyone to mute their mic as well as their video because many people might have some data problem, like they might have low bandwidth and all, so they can't hear it out. And since I'm using right now only one device, so I can't mute each and everyone. So I would suggest everyone to mute themselves such that it will be a very clear interaction. Whenever someone has to ask, either they can put in chat, which I will see from time to time, otherwise they can unmute themselves and speak one by one. Okay, so that's the plan as far as now. For in today's session, we are going to take it brief. I will tell you a little bit of the aspect of data analytics from the industry settings, in which mostly I am also interested in, like why we should learn anything about data analytics at the first place. Why we are saying that a lot of things we have to do with data. What is data exactly? Why we are thinking or talking about all the data? So we'll first 30 minutes maybe we'll focus on that, and first 20 30 minutes followed by a little bit of pandas, and I will tell you about something called Google Colab, which I'm going to use uh, in most of in latest in mostly all the live interaction sessions, and I will share that Google Colab what is that, and I will tell you that as well. So there's few restriction with Google Meet that I'm giving you. So I just want you to tell every participant here to get a brief idea of that. Is that in this meet I don't have a business standard subscription. So max to max only 100 people can join. So if there's a chance that you are joined here and somehow because of some bad you're not able to join, someone else trying to join. So if you are not able to join, consider that the capacity of the meeting has been full. Okay, so don't think that I'm not admitting anyone or something, or me either for any other live session as well. If they're using Google Meet, max to max they can do only 100 participants at a time. Okay, uh, so one question is that does the agenda change for every session Tuesday and Friday? Mostly yes, like it mostly will go with the uh, flow of the course. So it's not like right now in the first week of the course they mostly talk about the Python, little bit of statistics, what is data analysis and data analytics. So some definition. So we are going mostly that we are following that pattern itself. But only thing extra thing what we can do here is like for example they are focusing on pandas, so maybe I will for next 2 weeks I will mostly focus on pandas. So that's how it is going to be like. So I will mostly focus on technical aspect. I will not go in statistical aspect mostly, but I will tell you the tools like in pandas, like if I given a data, how we can visualize it, we can learn the things about and all those things. That is going to happen in next two weeks. So agenda will changing per every week, but mostly it will be in line with the course. Okay, just give me a second. Okay, okay. So yeah, so one question is every week we will have two sessions for 2 hours each, right? Yes. So for particularly for this course, there are four TAs, that is teaching assistants, similar like mine, including me. So on Friday, only myself 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. I will take every Friday, and the next remaining three TAs will take from on Tuesdays. Okay, as far as I know. Okay, if there are any change of schedule from other TS, for me it's fixed. I will be doing from 6 to 8, or from other TS if change, NPTEL will inform you through via mail. Okay, so now that being given a context of surrounding the how things going to be work, every Friday from my side, my name is Ishan. 6 to 8 I will be giving this, and in this call max to max 100 people only can join, not more than that. And this recordings, materials, everything that we are going to discuss will be shared with you by NPTEL itself. Um okay, this recordings also. Okay, so let's start with a few basic things like so Okay, so the announcement tab mentioned the sessions or 2 3 conduct Tuesday 7 to 9. How is supposed to attend? Uh, it's okay. So Jugal, it's not like they're going to teach anything very drastically different from whatever it's happening in the NPTEL course. Okay, NPTEL course will be your prerequisite. It's not going to, they're going to teach the same slides and everything again and again. They will might do their own style. So for me, there's no constraint on what are the topics I need to take. Okay, so for them also it's be like that. So they might take some particular topic from that week and they will discuss that like that. Since the first weeks, the problem statements are is quite easy to understand. Little bit explanation is needed. Later, as we go ahead and more complex problems, assignment problems will come, we will take those problems as well as a like reference examples to solve it. Since this is a first class, we are going to take it very light. So similarly, these people are also going to be like that. But each TA will have its own style, and it's not like you have to attend each and every session. These are all our voluntaries. If you want to attend, you can attend. Can you suggest for this course? A lot of things are there, but we will go to it. We will discuss all of the stuff. Okay, over the period of time, what books, what courses, and all this. Okay, so let's get started to it. It's already 6:10, and for this, I'm planning to have it only for 1 hour 30 minutes max to max, being a first session, to get things set, like how what I'm going to do in next every 2 hours. Okay, so the first thing is data, right? We all talk about data. We have a lot of data. So let's look at it through some mainstream things, like what we actually talk about data, and then we will think about like why we even need to do analysis and all that. Okay, let me share my screen. My entire screen. Let me share. Okay, I hope you can see my screen, right? I'm just opening Google Meet. So I will show you certain articles. I'm not able to find a particular reports per se, but I will show you some articles and which tells you about that why even we need to uh, uh, why we even need to consider thinking about data analytics in the first place. Okay, so this I will share this articles thing also. So I've found some certain interesting things. Uh, so this is also a kind of data analytics and which you should know about. So one important things I found that so let's think of social media. Like our whole life is right now is in and around social media. Okay, so in this they put interesting after they're doing certain sample size and all, they find some interesting things. So if you look at the bottom to third last, that is in social media, like in our average lifetime that we are spending right now, according to current statistics, we are on an average we are using spending 6 years 8 months only on social media as of now, like as of 2022 2023, right? Which is quite strange, and we feel like, oh, it's not possible, like we are spending, considering a 70 years as an average lifetime in span, and we are spending 6 years only in social media. So this is something like something different, right? So and another thing you should know, since we are so much occupied in day to day of our lives, that if you actually go in your Android phone and check, there's something called digital well-being. Okay, I'll just type it out just to check digital well-being. Okay, if you go there and just check about your usage, everyday usage, you will be shocked to know that what how exactly you're using your phone. Okay, it tells about, let me show you, um, dashboard. Yeah, it will show you that how much time you have been spending on your phone. Okay, now I want to relate whatever example I'm going to see as a data. Like you're using your phone, you don't know how you're much using, but since you started measuring it through some means, you get to find to know that the time spent on your phone may be 3 hours, 4 hours on an average in a day, in a single day, right? So in the same way, that's being a digital well-being in your Android phones, if most of you have Android phones, assuming that. Similarly, if you check for social media, 6 years, 8 months, just like that. And this is some statistics with respect to uh, like how of major organizations, like these are the where people spend their time the most. So daily spend time on Facebook all over the world. It's about all over the world. Okay, it's 33 minutes or at 4 petabytes of data. So it is like, if I have to tell you what is petabyte, it is like, if you know a GB, 1 GB of data, mobile data. Okay, it is into 1 GB into 1 GB into 1 GB, like it's uh, 10 raised to 9 times, if I am correct. It's more, 10 raised to 9 times or more, that much of data produced only by Facebook. Okay, and more than 2 billions of people are actually using it. Similarly, YouTube, 5 billion uh, videos have been watched daily, 5 billion. And you just can't get it, these kind of data just like that. You have to measure it, like 7 8 billion approx 8 billion population we have in this world, and so much of data has been going in and out, and this is a quite big number. It's something, actually, even though we write it down, we can't even comprehend when we actually look at the data. Similarly, like Instagram, another big thing. 95 million photo has been updated. 95, like it's, you just add another 8 or 9 zeros after 95, that much amount of photos has been updated only on Instagram. That is every single day. WhatsApp, another big thing. 100 billion messages. Okay, so what you have to see here is not the amount of what are the this number showing, but how this number is even getting. You start thinking that way. So when you're seeing data analytics and all that, there will be certain measurements that they might be using to identify all this data. And why do you even need to do that? To get to know that, to extend how exactly everything is going on in this world. When I'm saying that in a WhatsApp, which we use in our everyday day-to-day life, if it is 100 billion people, 100 billion messages are happening, you just think that how big it is, how very large, in a very large context, everyone is using this, right? So whatever you're saying is basically data analytics, and then based on this data you have to analyze that. WhatsApp has to analyze that, okay, how they have to maintain their system, because if you're saying 100 billion messages daily, they have to keep this data somewhere, they have to store this data somewhere, right? And that's how WhatsApp can work in each and every phone. So for that, data has to be, they should know that how many people are using it, how much data is going in, how many videos are coming, how many photos are coming on WhatsApp itself. So first they have to collect the data, and then they have to start utilizing it, right? So this is something, uh, this is the data that you're having. Now from this data, there are multiple things that you can analyze on, based on, like, if a Snapchat is there, he has to analyze that how much time they have to use, they have to what, with this data, how they have to improve their organization, how more and more people can join and more data can be saved. So for example, you can access in WhatsApp a year or 2 year old chat as well. How are you able to do that? Have you ever thought about that? They are storing that data somewhere. It's not even on your phone, but they are storing in somewhere else as well in their servers. And since you are saying that there's a lot of data is there, how they are even storing it? What is mechanism? So lot of things can be taken off from understanding if we get to know that, just by if we collect the data. Once we collect data, we have to start analyzing it, and we have to see that what are the challenges, what are the problems we are having. Similarly, social media gets another report which shows about this, that number of social media users is 4.76 billion, and it's changing, like every quarter, every 3 or 4 months, in a year, millions and millions of people are joining, right? So it has been increasing. The more the population increasing, the more this industry data is also increasing, and I'm talking only on social media. So there are a lot of other things. There are government rated data. There is uh, there is something banks rated data, financial bank. I will show you one interesting data collection that is happening. So this in Andhra Pradesh. So in Andhra Pradesh itself, they have a lot of data which tells about in which region, which part, in which district, in which region, what amount of data has been available, what kind of soil is, how much groundwater is available, how much storage is available in reservoirs, the dams, and all that, how much irrigation tanks, multiple things, and how much rainfall has been happened. These are all the data that you are getting, and you can see the if you can see on the right side, uh, it's the whole Andhra Pradesh map, and they are telling that depth of groundwater level and all this, and these are eventually required. You have to analyze this data to get to make some policies, to make some decision that what to do in the future, the next 20 30 years, right? So all this data is needed, and that's why you're all doing this, right? But yeah, I want you to acknowledge the fact that the data that we are having is so humongous that a human, or even if an army of human is standing and even try to analyze data, it's not at all possible. That's why we need machines. That's why we have to do analytics on that. That's why you have to use statistics in that. Okay, so 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 in this case, like I just to give you an overall aspect of the data aspect, like you go and search like government, go to any government websites, they, and if you ask for certain kind of data, it is available online. And the reason it is available online is to help us, people like us or different company, to analyze what is the situation of a particular problem. So we talk about the water scarcity is being going on. So how do you know that the water scarcity is there? It's not just by experience or just by observations. They have to see, they have to collect the samples, they have to collect the observations, right? So this is like multiple things are available on the net, and our job is through this course is basically to analyze and see that how we can access this data. Obviously we are not going to do for big data. We are going to start with some small simple examples like that, right? And then based on this we will see that uh, how we can make sense out of it. Okay, so I just let me check the chat, because right now I can't see the chat while I'm sharing, so it's not like Zoom. Can we have WhatsApp group for can could you okay, is it being recorded? Yes, this video has been recorded. Okay, you have your WhatsApp group chat, it's fine. Okay, so that being said, that's a overview of uh, this data. Like we have a lot of data, our task is to analyze it, and we have to use certain tools right now to use that. So what we will discuss right now in this session is mostly about uh, two things. First I will talk about the Google Colab. That is one thing that I'm going to use for whatever the code that we're going to write and something. That's one thing. Another thing that we can going to discuss is Pandas, basics of Pandas, at least for this session. Okay. Okay, I have Saddam. I have already answered this thing, so you don't need to attend each and every slot or something like that. Each and every TA will use certain. Uh, yes, so videos are being recorded. They will be shared through YouTube links, and mostly they might be in a similar range of what have been discussed in this NPTEL lectures as well. Okay, so now I want you to, if you have net or laptop beside you, uh, I want you to open Google Colab. Let me Just search Google Colab research. Let me put that here. Yeah, the record sessions and everything and any other data will be shared via mail by NPTEL itself. Okay, okay, that's done. So I'm going to use this. So let me open certain things. If so, I'm assuming that most of the people doesn't know what is Google Colab and what we can do just like in this. Okay, so I'm going to use this as a basic thing, basic explanations, uh, the features and everything about. Okay, please type your question in the chat. Once I done with the explanation, I will look at the chats because I can't see the chat simultaneously. Okay. Mm, okay. So so Google Colab it's basically a notebook. Okay, it's a runtime notebook. Let me increase the font size. I can write. Yeah, that would be fine, I guess. Okay, it is a runtime notebook. So what it means is I will write a part of code. So for example, I'll just write that. eh, Sorry, I'm just using a Python as a language, so I'm just writing it down just like that, and I'm just printing a. Okay, so what notebook does is these are called cells. If you can see a little grayish here, these are called cells. So if I just write few lines of code here, I just writing one line of code. Okay, it can execute that one line of code. Okay, uh, so what is happening is it's an online notebook. So I will tell more about it. I'm just giving a basic analysis of what is actually happening. Um, so it's connecting me to runtime. Let it connect. Okay, it's initializing. Okay, fine. Okay, and then it's printing 0. Okay, so what is happening in this kind of settings is I can write a certain part of code. So I will write maybe 3 to 4 lines of code. Okay, and after that I can write the continuation of that code in some other cells. So this whatever I wrote a equal to 0 is independent of this, but still they are connected. So if you have written code earlier in editor, you just have to write every single thing. That means uh, you might have to write like this: a equal to 0 print a. That's how you have written the code, and you can write that code in this fashion also, no doubt. But it is for easier readability. You can divide the code in multiple cells, and then you can execute them independently. So when I wrote a equal to 0, it has been executed independently, and then print a, it has been executed independently. Okay, so that's what a notebook do, a runtime notebook. Okay, so what it is doing in the background is it is storing whatever, like if I wrote 3 4 lines of code or a equal to 0, it's storing in the background. And what it is doing in this cell is, that is print a, it is taking that from the memory equal to 0 and then printing it. Okay, but if you try to do that in any other, in a normal editor, if you just write print a just like that and a equal to 0 in some other things, it will give errors because it in editors it will take cells as a different file, but here cells are interconnected to each other, but you can execute independently. So Google Collaboratory is Google Collaboratory, or you can say Colab for short. Okay, so these things, it is an online notebook. Okay, some offline notebook alternatives are, is quite popular one is Jupyter notebook. Okay, okay, so now let me share this thing and I will discuss more about it. If you have laptop, then okay. So I will discuss containing library to Google Colab works same like Jupyter, so it's necessary to you. Can we use the link CSV file collab? Okay, fine. I will discuss all these questions. Uh, okay, let's go back again. So I just share that with you. Can create your own thing also if you want to see. Okay. Uh, so I've shared a link of Google Colab which you can hopefully can see this. Okay, while I'm editing. If not, then let me know that in the chat box. Okay. Now, so what's happening here is there are some computer system which has been it is in some Google place, Google Office somewhere. Now what my computer is trying to connect with that computer, okay, and it is assigning me certain RAM or disk space. So it is giving me that connected to RAM 0.88 GB, 2.86 GB. So I have been allotted with a system with approx 13 GB RAM, and disk is something 100 GB disk, something like that. So in this kind of settings, it's online. The system where we are running this, uh, the code we are running is running in server. We call that server. The boot spec is 13 GB RAM, and they have given me 100 GB hard disk space. Okay. uh, so in this, all libraries are usually pre-installed. So whatever the system we are using, which is somewhere remotely connected, we don't know where it is connected, we don't even need to know, but most of the libraries mostly, and when we say pre-install, its current version will be its uh, version install. You don't need to know about version thing. The more you do practice, then you will know the meaning of versions. Like different versions might have different kind of functions. We will see that in later, maybe in some other sessions. Okay. So what is happening is it's a notebook where I can write code. I can divide the code in multiple cells, and I can execute them independently. Okay. Now this has been running online, and I'm connecting with a system which is allocated by Google itself, and most of the libraries that we are going to use, it is pre-installed. Okay, same version is like Jupyter, but in Jupyter you have to install multiple libraries. Here you don't have to do that. Okay, that is one thing. Another thing is, since it is Google is giving it free, so the moment I make this my system sleep, or I do something else, if it is being inactive for a long time, this system which is connected to my this Google Colab, it will be disconnected. So I have to be stay in the screen doing my work, and if something is running in the background which might take hours and hours, I have to keep the system on. The moment I shut down my PC or something like that, this allocation of the particular system for me will be disconnected. Okay, so this is because since this is online, so the connection between our system and their system will be disconnected. This is one thing. Okay, now so you have what I have written is a code. It's a code based cell. So we call this individual where you can see 1 and 2 is called cells. Now another thing that you can see is you can see the numbers here, that is 1 3 2, wherever you can see the play button, right? So it tells about the execution number. So this cell on top where I have written 3 to 4 lines of code, it is executed first time upon all. Then print a, that is the third cell, is being executed on the second, and a equal to 0 equal to 0 print a as one cell has been executed third. Okay, so it is giving a sequence of in which sequence the cell has been executed, and this sequence is important. Okay, so for example, let me show you in another way. So let me write a equal to 1. Let me run it as well. Let me write c is equal to a plus b, and I will not run this, and let me write this as well. Okay, let run this also, and b equal to 10. So ideally, if I execute c equal to a plus b and print c, it should give me value of 1, but it will not give because b has been not defined. So if I run this, b equal to 10, and again I run this, it is giving me a value of 11. Okay, so even though I put c equal to a plus b above, it doesn't matter because these cells are independently be executed, and they are the system is the Google Colab is keeping maintain the sequence in which sequence I should execute. So the cell number a equal to 1 is executed 4th, b equal to 10 executed 6th, and then c equal to a plus b cell is executed 7th. Okay, so even though you write your code in any different way in any different cell, if you execute in a certain pattern, then only if you execute in a certain way, then it will provide you the result. So for example, when I did c equal to a plus b and I haven't defined b, so it gives me an error, right? So unless I execute a cell where b has been defined, the c equal to a plus b cell will not work, right? This provides us more flexibility while writing the code. Okay, so this is a little bit about it. This is, we call this a code cell. That means we can execute it. There's something called as text cells. Okay, text cells is basically uh, to write certain comments or section names, something like that. Okay, so they so it is written in a markup language. uh, So if you can see here, if I write it here, it's showing how it will going to look like. Um, so convention section name with 1 hash, it's bigger in size. 2 hash, it is smaller in size. So multiple things you can do here with this bold text. Okay, okay, control plus MC. Okay, I have mistaken it. Okay, comment or section text, and let me write. It is it's written. It is basically a markup language. Okay, so this one thing is there. So there are a lot of tools are there, but basic we will get see in this. um, if I do this and I will put this, so this is a kind of one section that I have created, and if I write something here, print hello world and print it down. So I can remove. So while you're doing a lot of coding, you might write hundreds of cells, hundreds of this kind of cells, right? So it itself is so big, so you can write hundreds of cells. But and you, since reading is difficult, so for better readability for a particular section, you can hide a different kind of cells. So for example, if you can't understand from this example, let me write this in a different way. um, so I can move the cells also up and down. Okay, so let me write, this is first section, and if I drop down this, so 7, if you can see here, 7 cells are being hidden. So why you need to know is need to know all this is to get a basic hands-on just of understanding that how Google Colab works. The more we code we do here, the you will get to know better. But just to give a brief overview of this, so for first section itself, there are 7 cells in that. So I have hidden 7 cells. So for me, it is just to get a basic understanding of if I have a notebook which is written, which have maybe 100 to 100,000 different cells, at that point of time I may use this kind of minimization to get a better readability, because if I see 100 lines of code itself, it will be looking for me too big. So for this kind of options they have given. Now another thing that you can do is, since it's online, so you can upload certain kind, you can't directly, and if you have certain file which you are going to use in a certain section, um, so you can't just directly access those files, so you have to upload it. So what you have to do is, so like I have one data CSV file that I might use in this session. I will put it here, so I can upload. So it is, see the reminder is saying uploaded file will get deleted when this runtime is recycled. That means when this runtime is over, that means if once the moment I close this tab, or if I keep this my laptop as sleep or shut down, this file or data or CSV will be recycled. That means it will be deleted. Okay, so whatever is happening having is a temporary file that I'm having it, and from here I can access it and I can play with this data file. We'll come more to that as well over the period of time. Okay, so this is an uh, overview of particularly uh, basic operation of Google Collaboratory, and I would prefer right now to use, if you want you can use it over the period of time. I think because even in the NPTEL lectures we have been asked to use Jupyter Notebook. So if you don't have much laptop space to install it and run it, if you're finding it more complex, you can start using Google Collaboratory directly. Okay, you can use it online, and since we are not doing any big projects, it the code will be saved, but outputs we have to regenerate again and again. Okay, so what I mean by is, so if I'm writing equal to 0 print a, I'm giving a output 0. This code will be saved, the highlighted code will be saved, only the output of 0 is will not be saved. So that's fine, but the beauty of notebooks also that they keep the outputs also safe for each and every cell. They will keep the output safe in a certain extent. So if you have an offline notebook, that is if you're using Jupyter notebook, there the these kind of outputs that you're getting, these things will be saved. Okay, so this is a brief overview till hundreds of things we can see in Google Collaboratory, but now this is basic thing we should get to know. Another important thing that I'm assuming that you should know little bit of Python. So what I did is basically, even though I'm writing here a equal to 0 print a, it's a part of a Python thing. So if I write the same code in C++, I have to write int equal to a plus b and then printf and all those stuff. I'm directly using Python. So I'm assuming that you should have little bit of background of Python as well, right? So we are not going to reach as the surface. Wherever it's needed, I'm going to bring certain topics to maybe we discuss little bit about what in Python as well. Okay, so this is the basic overview. uh, Let me zoom out it. Okay, so okay, Jamoni, what attack when using Colab against Jupyter? This no particular advantage. The functionality is quite same. Even might Jupyter might have much better. You might get more better options than Google Colab. But if you're not an advanced user or something, you just need to know a practice, and you don't want to install anything in your system, you can use a Google service or a Google Colab service. Okay, so basically it is like it's like this, right? I don't need to install Instagram on my phone. I can directly go to web and check whatever status I need to check in my Instagram, right? It has its web application, same like that. Okay, and you can access it from anywhere as well. That's true. Like if I'm using the profile is written currently saying like that uh, if I have one this system, now I will be going somewhere else, I don't have access to my system, then I the code will be saved already in online, so I can use that. Can we rearrange a cell? Yes, you can rearrange. you can bring this up and down that we have seen just like now. You can up and down the cells, and you can change the content like that also, but you have to rerun it. So okay, so Clevo, I have so it's okay. So what I'm going to cover today is basically I just first 20 minutes we just discussed about the kind of data we are having in our system in in a particular space that we are living right now. I just gave an example of net social media, right? Similarly, now we discuss about little bit collab, Google Collaboratory, some basic function Google Collaboratory. Now I'm going to discuss Pandas, little bit of basic function of Pandas. Okay. Uh, can we use Spider or Visual Code for this course? Yes, you can perfectly use any text editor for this code. I'm using going to use Google Collaborate just to give a better understanding for the people to use, because just by writing few lines of code I can tell them what is the intermediate output as well rather than showing the full output. So you can use any text editor which you have, but only condition is that that prerequisite libraries should be installed there. Will the session feature teasers across API areas, convert them more readable form? Yeah, we can do that. We can extract some data from certain websites and all that, but I haven't checked the whole uh, course material of how they are doing it. Mostly, I will be in line with the whatever is going to be teach by the Professor Ramesh. If these kind of application is there, I will do that. But because making these things will take time, and it may not, even 2 hours might not be sufficient enough to do that. Okay, so
Hello.
yeah.
Hello, good evening, sir. Uh, Sir, sorry, I have joined late. Can you please summarize it that what we have covered till now?
So this is the first session. I haven't covered anything
Okay.
much in detail. So mostly we discuss about the data that we are having, the kind of data we are having, and the availability of data is there. Now our task is to analyze it. So I show multiple examples of data that we are having, and how we even get that data is itself is a question that we need to ask sometimes, right? So that we have discussed. Another thing is Google Colab. It's a online based service of runtime notebooks that we have just discussed the basic runtime event. We've discussed the basics of uh, what you say, how to use the Google Colab. Okay. Uh,
Okay.
okay. Okay, so Aditya, API AWS things, we have to see. I haven't planned till the 12 weeks, but if there's a possibility of that, and we can do, because we have to see, take most of the students in line with this. If there, we can surely do that. The part data analytics is, yes, it is mostly finished. Like in data analytics industry settings, is mostly like data is everywhere now. Everyone's trying to get as much data as possible. Even I'm keeping this Google Meet. Google is recording it. Google is have keeping record of most of the things, right? So these are data that you're using, and how they're going to use it, that's their based on their business purpose. So yeah, that has been discussed, but we can have this thing. Yes, you will get these recordings. Can we use the CSV files? You can use mostly all type of different kind of files you can use in Colab, be it CSV file, be it XLX files, where the data has been stored in a tabular format. You can use them in Google Colab. You can also create, okay, NPTEL exam. Kushi, I don't know much about it. Mostly it might be MCQ patterns if I remember correctly. Yeah, we will take a break now. Mostly, like we will start with pandas mostly after this. Uh, can you mention libraries relevant to this course? Okay, yeah. Let me write it down here. So mostly, okay, let me write it. Going to be used. Okay, so the libraries we are going to use mostly, maybe we will do more than that, but these are something basic that we should know about. These are first is pandas that we're going to cover in first two sessions. I'm not going to each and every function, but I'm going to give you a good amount of brief or a good amount of overview, not too deep, not too shallow, to use pandas. Okay, then something called as numpy. We will use that as well. If our time if something else will come, then we might use pandas scipy. We might use scipy. We might use matplotlib. This is for visualization. You have to visualize your data as well, right? So this is will be there. Scipy sklearn probably. I am not sure right now. I have to see the content of the how the courses earlier courses going to be like, and what other languages we're going to see. Uh, but these are the you can take the first four for sure. If any other thing will be there, we will take a separate session for that as well. Okay. So this is one thing. Uh, yeah, data is new oil. That's absolutely correct. And the question, with a, even we are stating the statement why data is new oil. You should ask why even data is new oil. Why even people are crazy about oil? Why people are paying more to get people? Why people are more going into this kind of jobs, and people are paying you? Why people are paying more and more? Because the reason is very simple. Now the population is in billions. Every almost billions of people have bank account, so they might be doing hundreds, millions and millions of billions of transaction. There's not a chance that you a person or even 100 people or 1,000 people can sit and study all the data by itself. They have to use computers, and they have to use certain mechanism to make sense out of that data. From there's a interesting saying that from data you get information, from information you create knowledge, from knowledge you create wisdom, right? So the whatever the data I showed you earlier about Netflix, YouTube, or the water resources in Andhra Pradesh, from that data we created information that in district I have this information. Now from that information, if you get to know that in a certain district a water level of a certain district is going down and down very fastly, so what steps you need to take. So that is a kind of knowledge that you're creating there. We are not in this session we are not going to solve any particular question, and the assignment questions that we are having mostly right now I have seen in first two sessions are mostly MCQ based. So I don't think so we need much focus on that. But if that is going to happen, if it's becoming more and more complex, we are not going to solve exactly the same question that has been given in assignment. We may take some previous year questions which we will use to solve it. Okay, so problem solving will happen, not mostly not in this lab, not session, because the premise of this session will mostly to give you more on get some idea on more on hands-on rather than solving a question. But we will solve the more the assignments become more complex, we will do that. Where the major data cleaning takes place in Excel or Python libraries, because in Excel also we can clean data visualize in Power BI. Okay, so Priyansh, it is like you have to understand few things here. When you are when we're saying that data cleaning, it can done in both. That you're saying is correct. So what it will happen in your system is it will read the all data from your Excel file, put that in memory, and then it will do the Excel. Python libraries will do their work. It is not going directly going to reflect in Excel file. You have to write that whole that information in the Excel itself, right? And Power BI is, yes, it is more simplified version for that. So I don't know whether you have used it. It's a difference like Linux versus Windows. Kind of if you are Linux user, you do mostly typing the commands and all. But Windows you use mostly GUI concept. So it is more like that. So yes, we can do multiple ways. Power BI is mostly is a paid one. So you have to pay or maybe it's a free version will be there, maybe trial version. I haven't tried that, but it gives you. But with Python libraries or any other library, this is a language called R. With that also you can do a lot of data analytics. That is purposefully meant for data analytics. The language called R. That's it. Nothing else. Okay, it's meant for data analytics. I'll just show you R language. It's a quite popular language for computing, statistical computing. Okay, so tools, we have hundreds of tools right now. It's just that we have to see how everyone can do that. What is your role, and how the more tools you will get in more different settings, the more granular you go, you will get more tools for that. uh, you can use Visual Studio for this code. You will get the recording of the sessions. uh, okay, could you please share the last year assignment? I can't share that. The last year assignments and answer, I can't share that with you. I just got an access for, but I can't share that with you. Okay, so now it's almost 6:55. I know it's mostly a kind of theory session. I haven't discussed much, but what we're going to do, we take five to 10 minutes, 5 minutes break, and then we will go through some basics of pandas, just to get a brief overview of pandas, and based on that, we will uh, take. I don't have previous year question paper as well. I don't have that. Uh, if you can see my name, Ishan Rao, that's my LinkedIn profile. If you can check that, Priyansh. So, okay, I have to search that. Can we try some selected problems? Yeah, it's a break time. So 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes, we will take a break, and then we will start with basics of pandas. Maybe another 30 minutes, 30-40 minutes, and then we close off this session. Yeah, yeah, take 7-5. 7-5 we will start. Can we try some selected problems with week one? If you want, you can ask some question. I have to check the week one assignment as well. I haven't checked that, but I went through it. I think these are mostly mean, median, mode kind of questions. So we can check that. If I'm not able to solve, then I will come with in the next Friday. I will come with that, or in next Tuesday, some other TAs might take up those questions as well. Can we use Visual Studio best? What is visual design? If you can explain. I haven't checked last year question, so I don't know whether the assignment problems and examination problems are same or in what extent same. So I haven't given the examination for this course per se. So sorry, I can't help you in this, Lalit. Which tool is the most used tool used in data for data analytics? There will be a lot of paid tools, plus, but they use this kind of libraries as well, which becomes a core part of it. uh, Recent ones, there are a lot of progression has been happened. Mm. So SQW and Power BI, yeah, it's there. These are quite popular, but they have moved beyond this also. Like these are for the okay, so there are different levels in which you can do. So the more you find the GUI kind of stuff, it is mostly for the average user who doesn't know much about that. Python will be always in the background for these, on many kind of technologies that we are having right now today, mostly with respect to data analytics. Okay, so Okay, Asima, this is slot is being given by our NPTEL itself. So I think the slot starts itself from 6, if I am correct. So I don't know whether we can do for 5 p.m. IST, and that is something you need to ask, raise this concern with NPTEL. If they are okay with that, then we can do something about it. So can Python is enough for analytics? Uh, Yes, it is quite enough. R has more powerful, and then something called as MATLAB is also there. So multiple libraries are there. The like what the tools, the amount number of tools that we're going to have is like maybe in hundreds. Okay, so it's, I would not say enough, but the more you go deep, you'll find more and more different kind of things there. And whatever we're going to have is mostly a very surface level thing as for this today's session, and maybe throughout the course also we might not go to that deep level. But as a beginner it's enough, but if you want to go very really deep in that, then yes, both Python and R supports quite good amount of functions and libraries. So at 7:05, maybe in 5 minutes we will do that. Okay, so Aditya asking what has been your experience data analytics till today. Uh, so it's very interesting thing is that I'm being using datas which are quite maybe in GBs. That is right now I'm not yet to reach to a stage where I can use TBs of data. So in that, download collecting the data is the hardest part for me. Okay, so data collection is the most hardest part, and then cleaning you can still do to a very good extent, maybe in a much very brief extent. Data collection is the most hardest part from my according to my this thing. Then data cleaning you can do. Then you have to do a lot of experiments with to taking some making some sense out of the data. So for example, I have maybe million lines of rows. At that point of time, obviously I'm going to look at maybe max to max hundreds of maybe 100 or 200 lines of uh, rows of data, but I can't understand the pattern in that. So there I have to do a lot of experiments. I have to do a lot of changing. I may take, so when I'm saying millions of data rows of data, it might have multiple features. So I will tell the it's more like rows versus column. So I will have rows and columns have multiple features. So in that, taking making sense of data, it's the second hardest part according to my sense. Cleaning is good, you can do it. Collection is the toughest. Second number, making sense out of data is the second hardest part. Then maybe other small factors will come into picture. Reviews on chat gpt, it's awesome, but at the same time if you don't have knowledge you will make be fooled that some many times it gives wrong answers as well. So you should use it carefully, and you should not be overly dependent on that. So don't make an opinion just because ChatGPT is giving you an answer, a particular like that. Uh, and you, if you can play with it, it provide very good things. Like we have tried making an art. We have tried asking the poetry, not just facts. Something which is requires some imagination or something like that. In that, ChatGPT is awesome. It is giving good, but still at the same time. Uh, Most of many of these answers are also correct incorrect, so it is learning also. So you have to be cautious about it and not to being too much dependent on chat gpt. Shreyas, I will come to you. I think Vishal, someone has raised his hand, so can you write typed out in chat or unmute yourself? Okay, so what's the difference between data science and data analytics? I don't have a proper definition of both of these things, but I can tell you this as one major thing I can tell you difference is data analytics come under the umbrella of data science. So anything to do with data, be it like if you have seen the first lecture of the data and first lecture of this course, it tells difference between data analysis and data analytics. Analysis is about something about the past, okay, and data analytics, it tells about the future. See, it both come under data science. Data science is a major term where analytics will come inside as a part of it. It's study of data. It's just like science is something what you make, get some observation, you do that. So it's just science is the basic study of the data, what, how to deal with that data. I can share the email ID, I can't share the contact number. Okay. How to download data source from GitHub? You can just download the file. You can just download this. What do you say? There's an option of downloading that whole source, so you can do that. If you want, I can show that as well later. But there's a proper GUI open as well. Can you please import data from Excel? Yeah, we can do that as well. I need to get some data, create Excel data. I can do that. So in Pandas we can do that as well. I need to check the functionality for that. Mostly people prefer CSV because it is light in weight. Like I can write the amount of data I'm writing in Excel and amount of time I'm writing CSV is, if you see it, CSV will take less space compared to Excel, but we can do that. Um, okay, I think it's already 7:06, so let's start with it. Uh, Feather was light. Can you explain more about the feather thing? Obviously, there are multiple different kind of uh, what do you say? Different type of files are there. So obviously, like I can take multiple versions of pandas as well. So there's something called as pandas. There's something called as vex. So for same library you can find the multiple variations. People use it based on like that. Can we get internship using data analytics with Python? You can attain the knowledge and then you have to apply for the companies. There's a chance like that. You can apply for that internship, but you have to apply. You have to search for this. What skills they might need. In that, they might ask for certain kind of technologies. Uh, so you have to learn for that as well. Data analytics Python is just a starting point. It's not an ending point that after this you will get multiple things. It's just a starting point. What is it? CSV file is a comma separated values. I will show you that what CSV file is. Recorded session, yeah, it will be available. Okay, let's start with this pandas. Mm, okay, let me. Okay, sorry, I should do this. Pandas. It has this also. Pandas. We can check its website also. It's quite good. Obviously tutorials are there, hundreds of tutorials are there, and this is something basic that in data analysis that you should know about. Okay, so it if you go with getting started and documentation, it's very easy to understand. uh, Easy to understand user guide is also available, installation, how to do different things. So multiple tutorials are there, so you can spend some time in it and do this. So I will start with some basic things, and then we will discuss. For this 20 minutes, I'm going to discuss few things of pandas, basic things I think which has already been discussed in video, but just for the first session we're going to use that. Okay, so what is pandas? Basically, it's a, let me write it down here. Okay, so it's basically in simplified version. It is like working with data sets. Now, if you may ask, what is data sets? So, data set in our sense right now, for basic, very basic understanding, we just a table of values. Okay, this is a very an abstract way. Okay, don't take it as a proper definition like that. Okay, so So it will have some rows, it will have some columns, it will arrange in a certain way. Now we have to analyze that kind of data. Okay, so I'm going to introduce some basic terminologies of pandas in this things. In next session we're going to go deep and we'll check multiple functionalities of pandas. Okay, now what it can do, uh, so if I will just let you know who made this. There's some a guy called uh, please unmute your say mute yourself, that will be better for others to listen. Okay, so this Mekke, if I'm able to pronounce properly, McKinney. Okay, this guy has made this pandas, and if I remember correctly, he was doing this as a side job to understand the data, get to know about, deal with this financial data that is happening. If I remember the story correct, that's how it is. So what it can do, it can what it can do. Just let me open this also. Okay, what it can analyze the data set, it can clean the data set, it can explore the data set, and it can manipulate. So when we say manipulate, it is like deleting, addition, addition of rows or columns, changing values, all the stuff. Okay, so these things it can do. Now why we need it? uh, the reason is very simple. You will never get a data uh, in a proper form. You have to create, you have to make it, sorry, you have to make it in a proper form. Okay, so a lot of what you say, it's like this, you're trying to make a garden and a lot of weeds are there, right? Lot of unwanted plants and everything. So similarly, data when you get, it will be messy, totally messy. Okay, it is not readable and you have to make it readable. You have to make it understandable to general public or the organization heads, the one who's going to use that data. So you have to make it readable. So for that, that's a major reason that that you use libraries called pandas or numpys or something like that. Okay, what else it can do is it provides functionalities, it provides statistical functionalities which you can use to understand or uh, extract information from that data. Okay, so like what is statistical functionalities, I'm telling basic, you might know it is called mean, standard deviation, standard deviations, or maximum value, minimum value, multiple things, right? So these are basic things. There are hundreds of other functions are also available. So these provide this thing. So we can use this data to get some extract some information out of it. Okay. Now, if you want to install in this Google Colab, it is already been installed in the system which we are using, that online server system. But if you have to install in your system, you should have two things. First thing, you should have Python, okay, installed. Then you should use a command. You should have pip. Okay, it's a package manager. Usually it is pre-installed with Python, but sometimes it's not there, then you have to see. Then you have to use the command pip install pandas. Okay, this is okay. Now this is something, a basic of this. So what it can do, it works with data sets, basically a table. Right now we're going to work only with the kind of table that we are having. Next thing it can do, it can analyze, it can clean, explore. What does it mean? Of these terms we will see in the next sessions, or maybe you have already seen in your NPTEL thing as well. Okay, it provide, and why we need it? Because data, you have to create a data set. You will have data, but how to make it a proper, in a proper form? For that you have to do a lot of operations. Pandas will give you functionalities to do that. Okay, and from once you get that data set in a proper form, then you use statistical functions to extract certain information out of it. Okay, and then to install Pandas, um, to install Pandas, you should have Python in your system, and then you have pip in your system. From that you have to install install Pandas. Okay, so in this okay, let me, I will share this Google Colab. I already shared this link in the chat above, but I will share it later, like once I'm done with basic of this thing. Now, if you to install to use in Pandas in this Google Colab or anywhere else, you have to import it in. Okay, so you have to use, it's a Python statement import keyword. So you have to use import Pandas. Okay, so once you import Pandas, it will be imported, and then it has been imported there, so I can use Pandas functionalities right now in the system. Okay, now let's create a small data set. So I will tell you what I mean by small data set per se, and you'll find it's very simple, uh, but you will get to know that, just we will see the magnitude of that later as well. So I have already imported Pandas, so I will just pick my data set, and I will make some. Okay, let me write Tata, then Suzuki, Volvo, something like this, and um, price like 10, 12, 7, 20, something like this. Okay, and then I will pair data frame my data set. Okay, and then I just, okay, let's do this. So what I had done is I just created, okay, this is something called as dictionary. Okay, so I created dictionary in a dataset format. So like created, sorry, so my dataset is basically a dictionary if you just look from the Python point of view. uh, but here we are trying to create a small data set where the car is then with certain price. So if we just run this, and then I will add, I'll just print it out. Okay, now this is come as a data set. It's a basically a table if you can observe. So I have some column names as cars and price, which I'm getting from here. These are called keys in dictionary terms. Okay, and these are called values. So car is called key, price is called key, and in cars the value will be Tata, and 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 I'm merging them. That Tata is actually the price of Tata may be 10 lakhs, Suzuki my 7 lakhs, Volvo maybe 20 lakhs. So it comes in a table form. Okay, it has been done like that. So first of all, if I give, so if you observe this, I already giving my data in a different form, and it is converting that it is converting my that dictionary into into a proper table form. Okay, it is like this. It's, so it is not providing any lines in between, but if you see like this, you can see that it has certain index called index, like the 0, 1, 2. It's called index. You have certain variable column names, this where within each column you have different values like Tata, Suzuki, Volvo, price is 10,720, right? I will talk more about data frame. It's a type like arrays or a string variable that you might have heard in other programming language. Data frame we will talk about soon. Okay, uh, so this is how you can do it. Now, uh, now what if you observe one thing is I've written pandas most of the time, but pandas is too big for me to write. So what people use is they will just use pandas as PD. So it's a aliasing. So if I am writing as give me, it's called aliasing. So it's like this. Aliasing is just like a short name that we give, right? For all of us, we have some nicknames, right? My name is Ishan, so some people, my friends call me Ishu. Same like that. For pandas, it's a six-letter word. People don't want to write that much big number word, so it's a standard. People are using that. They're using PDs, PD as a word. So if I'm writing panda as PD, so it's saying that whenever we use word PD, it means it's pandas. That's what it's telling to the system. So if instead of that pandas that I wrote here, I just if I do PD, it should work perfectly fine. PD is not defined. Okay, because I haven't run this thing. Okay, let me run this thing. If I run this, now it is working perfectly fine, and this var will print the same thing. Okay, so this is basically to create a data set kind of thing, but mostly will have data set on our own. We will discuss more on that later, but to give you an overview of like how a panda will take the data. Okay, so let's go a little bit more deep in this, and just to know that what, so pandas have multiple versions, so it's like update, right? Your phone, your apps, you will get multiple updates. Similarly, in this also, for a library like pandas, you will get multiple updates. So if you just to know that which version of pandas you are using, you just need to write pd underscore underscore version underscore underscore. Okay, if I just print it, it's 1.3.5. This is the version that right now the system is having. Okay, so so pandas might be updated before that, or before that it might be 1.2, something like that. So because different versions might provide different kind of functionalities, which not be there, like every version is always provide new functionalities, right? That's why we should check the versions from time to time. Okay, now let's talk about something called as series. Now in pandas, series is basically a you consider that as an array, as an analogy, or basically you can say tell that is a array itself. Okay, so what it is like, it's basically a one dimensional array. And when we say one dimensional array, in data set terms we say it's columns. Okay, so if you observe cars, that is Tata, Suzuki, Volvo, it's a one column. Okay, so one column, we for car we say for series one column is Tata, Suzuki, Volvo. Okay, price is another column, so if price is another series. So data frame is actually it's a merging of series. So so one column constitute 1D array and we call it series. So let's look at that. So it's basically a column in a table in a very simplified sense. I just write a column in a table. Okay, now let's take above example. If you want to take above example as well, or let's take different example. So if I have, let's take I make a list out of it, just like that, a simple array if we can talk. But in Python, it's we usually don't call array, we usually call list if it's a single line. It's 1D array, that's the word we use. So if we use pd dot series, and so what we're doing, it's a list actually. So I will just show you that. Type a, and we converting this pd series in, a, which is a list, into myvar, and then if we are just printing myvar, let's do this. Okay, so what I will want to show is let me type the name also. Type of A, data type of A, and then sorry. Okay, so data type of A is class list. So earlier when I give 7, 10, 2, it's basically a list. So when I converted, I had to convert that to series because pandas deals in a different way. So I need to use the function called series, and then I pass on the value of a, which is a list, and I've stored that in a myvar. And then when I printed it, it showed me like this. If you can see, it's also kind of table. It is so whenever you're providing any data to a panda thing, it will try to convert that as a table, and for whether even it has a one row like this, just like how we are done here, it will provide certain index that is 0, 1, 2. And when you see d type, it's called int 64. That means it's a 64-bit, so there's a different kind of int has multiple flavors. So a int can be stored as a 8-bit, 16-bit, 32-bit, 64-bit. So you don't need to have if you don't know anything about bit thing, it's a different story itself. But consider it's an integer variable. Okay, and the type which is telling about my var is like int. Okay, so whatever the value we are storing is basically int here. Okay, so that is one series terminology that you should know about, basically a 1D array. Now something called as labels. Labels that you basically look at is this 1012, right? So these are actually called labels. uh, sorry, indexes, and here you can change the name of this 012 as well. So why we need to change for this? Because for better readability. So if I want, I just I just do this, print my var 0. If I So what I did in my var variable, I try to access the first variable, that is first element. So that is coming from 0. So that's position, index position is 0. So whatever the value is present at that, it will print me out. So here it's 10 is there, so that's where it's coming. If I put 2, so it will provide me the answer of 2, like that. Okay, now if I want to change the name of this index, so what I can do here is I just need to write my var pd series a and index x y c. Okay, and then if I just do print my var, let me comment this thing out. Okay, okay, so now if you can see the difference between above, that the highlighted I'm highlighting, that is it's 0, 1, 2, 10, 7, 2, and here xyz 10, 7, 2. So what I changed here is I changed the name of my indexes, and it is quite needed when you have hundreds and millions of data, where you don't want to particularly give index to 1 to n number of this thing. You want to segregate them in a different way. So at that time you can label those index in a certain way, and from there you can categorize the data. Okay, so so here I can choose like that, and if I just write in this same way, I can if I do my var, and if I write give me the value of value at index y, so it should give me the value of 7, which it has given, right? So if I have to access a certain kind of variable value, I can get it by asking a particular position of that from the data set that we're having. Okay, so for now, as you can see till now, we have basically series and labels of like that. Okay, now we can see the key value objects. As now we have seen only list. Now let's see as key value. um, key value, which is basically a dictionary, as series. Okay, so let's take earlier code itself. Let me write it down. Um, my data set. Uh, it's like this. So okay, so I just what I need to do here is I, instead of writing so many different things, I will do. I have 10 Suzuki 7 C20. Okay. Okay, so I just created a dictionary to get a better understanding. That earlier code was multiple dictionary that was a copied paste. It's just like I have a Tata as a key, and it has value 10. Suzuki has a, it's a key and its value is 7. Volvo as a key, 20 is its value, right? And then what I have to do is I just write uh, my var and PD series. I just don't need to use this thing, and I need to write my data set. Okay, and just let me print it out also. Now here, if you can see that I didn't get any 0, 1, 2 value which we got earlier, like XYZ, because here index itself I'm taking a Tata or Suzuki or Volvo. Okay, so series is a little different from how we see earlier output. That output earlier we have seen like this. So we have certain called car, price, and we have index, and in that thing we have something called what we have seen earlier. This is called data frame. We will go in that data frame as well, but observe the difference that we are having here. Okay, here I'm taking multiple dictionaries values and say multiple list values, and here I'm converting that, taking dictionary as a value, and then I'm converting that as a series. Okay, uh, now if you want to so like okay, so if you want to access certain data as well in this, what you have to do is um, from this value is p dot series. If you want to extract certain data, we just write my data set. If you can see, this prompt is coming, right? So this prompt, what it tells about for a particular series is a function, so it tells multiple options like data. If you can see, data is there. uh, if data is there, you have to type the data. I'm writing data as my data set. Then I have to, the next option that I am having is index. Then d type, that is extension d type. In what type, like efmc d type is int64. Similarly, there's something called as float 64, double 64. Different extension type is there. Okay, type float, int, complex bool, object, or none equal to none. Then there's something called name, copy, fast path. Multiple options are available, and it provides this prompt for you, and with examples, with proper examples. uh, with proper examples that shows that what like what options you can use, and you can try these things out. Okay, so that being said, so you can use that, and I will um, put change some index or I just need to extract some data, so I just say index is equal to Suzuki. Okay, and then if I just take print, I'm extracting one particular data, particular cell from. So Suzuki 7, it's extracting me a particular row here. That is, I search for the index called Suzuki and I got the value for that. Okay, so this is key value object for this. Now let's talk about data frame. Just give me a minute. I will come and I think I have to connect my laptop with a power source. So just give me a 1 minute for that. Okay, sorry for the interruption. Okay, so we are going to talk right now. We have seen series, that is a one kind of data type that you can consider in pandas. Okay, similarly, data frame is another type. So if you're seeing series, it's a 1D array. If we have to I have to summarize like that, it's a 1D array. Uh, Data frame is multi-dimensional array. It can be it can be 2D, 3D, 4D, n number of arrays. Okay, so it just, you can say that series is just a part of a data frame. So to give an example, that what we have seen earlier, so if I just type this code again, it's like this. If I use this, it's a basically I'm using data frame as a function calling. It's a multi-dimensional array. In this case, it will be a 2D array. Okay, why it's not showing the output? Oh, sorry, I haven't this print. uh, Okay, but in data frame we use this usual standard of df. This is df stand for data frame. So just to give you an example, there are certain standards. It's not a rule, but people usually use this df dot something just to get some idea of like that. Okay, so usually we use df as a initial name for data frame like that. Now you can do multiple operation with data frame, and we will see mostly in in next sessions, but here the basic one which has been discussed already in nptel as well is locate a particular row, which have we already doing that earlier as well. So if I just write print df dot log is 1 or 2, so I will get that price 20. So I'll got the, so I locate the second row of this. So when I'm saying second row, start with 0. So row 0, row 1, row 2, like that. So basically for in our terms we might be saying row number 1, 2, 3. So third, I start for row number 3. I got from df log 2. So log is a function. So df is a data frame. It's already stored the data here, and I'm using log as a function, and then I'm using square brackets, and I'm asking for the particular location of the row. Okay, so similarly, if I want multiple rows, if I want to know multiple rows, I just need to add number of rows into that. So if I say df log 1 or 2, okay, some error is coming. Key error is 2. Okay, why it is like this? Okay, so okay, the error is, oh shit.
Try colon.
uh no, colon is not needed. I think it's more about square, another square brackets.
There will be two brackets square.
Yep. So so if I am using only one, there's not much problem about that. But when we are giving two brackets, it makes its own another data frame inside, and it creates its own table. So when I'm saying it is a,
Colon also works.
yeah, column also works. So if I'm creating like this, so it is creating 1 and 2. So it's creating another data frame which is which might be temporary, and is creating its own. That's why we are taking two square columns, square brackets here. Okay, And in the same way, if you want, you can change the name of this indexes, that 0 1 2. I can say car 1 2 3, like that as well. So that is something we can do. Now let's see some loading of data. So basically it's we'll stop till loading of data from CSV, loading and reading the data. Mostly with CSV. If you want, we can do with Excel as well. We just need to look at the command. So I have one file or data.csv. Let me show you what that data look like first. uh, I hope you can see the screen, right? I think I can. Let me check whether you can see. I think you can see the screen. Okay. So here this data is like duration, its pulse, its mac pulse, and calories. So it's a tabular data. It's a CSV file basically, but showing in a tabular data for me in a within this application. Okay. I will show. So if you look at this, for 60-minute duration, what is the pulse for different patients? Maybe like for patient 1 it will be 1010 pulse, max pulse reach to 130, and calories it burns is 409, right? So I have like that, the data is like that. So another important thing you can observe that, okay, as I said, data when you get, it's not perfect. Some data will be missing, some data will be totally irrational. So for example, if I get this data and if I change to -117 here, so that's irrational data, that or incorrect data that I'm receiving. So I have to clean those data. Or if I'm getting data uh, empty at that point, or cells, empty cells, that means I have to fill that with certain numbers, or I have to remove that column. So data cleaning comes at that process. We will look into that process as well over the period of time. Okay. So we will never get a data perfectly. We will get imperfect data, and we have to make that data perfect to analyze certain things. Okay. So I have uploaded this data already in the Google Colab. I will just show you. um, let me open it here. So what you have to do is, you have this file symbol is there, folder symbol here. Okay. So you have to use this uploading file option with arrow up, upload to session storage. If you choose that, if you collect the particular CSV, I have the CSV file already there, so I'm not going to open it again. The moment I open it, it will get uploaded here. Okay. Now what I have to do is, so data CSV file that we have seen here, that's basically has certain features values. We will look at that, like what these feature values are, like that. I will show that, but to read that thing, I just use df, a variable name basically. So I just do pd read CSV. Okay, and then I will write the file name. So read CSV, or we just remove this also. Okay, why prompt is not coming now? CSV. Okay, somehow the prompt is not coming, but still fine. Now it came. So read CSV is a, okay, file path. Okay, the when the prompt comes, you can see the multiple options that it contains. So for usually the first option that you have to give is the file name. Okay, and then you can give there's something called as in which format you want to read, but that will something we will look at later. Right now we don't have to see, but basic operations. If you do like this and just write down, do print, I'm reading data from CSV and just printing it out. So I have 169 rows with 4 columns, which columns are basically duration, pulse, max pulse, calorie, and with certain index, which data being a data frame, it's basically a data frame. Okay, if you just want to see the type, you can just do type also. Print type df. Yes. So what, like earlier I told that you have to go to the files in the Google Colab, which is on left hand side. Click on that. You will get an option of uploading a particular file. So I have data.csv already in my uh, system. So I just uploaded that data.csv. Okay. Once I uploaded that, I got the data, and then from that I'm reading the data. Okay, I think I can't use type function here, but it's basically a oh, sorry, my mistake. Print type df. Okay, so if you know want to know why I calling that df as a database, so it's coming with that the df as a variable which we talking about. It's from a class called pandas.core.frame.dataframe. So it's basically a data frame. It's basically a table of values which has four features. When we say columns, is basically a feature. So when I'm saying duration, pulse, max pulse, calories, for maybe for one particular human, when they're measuring that, they got these features, and from these features we have to make certain sense out of it, which we'll do in maybe next sessions. But this is how we read the data per se. But now you can see that I have 169 rows and 4 columns. That means I have 169 data points already with me and 4 columns. So if you want to see the whole data, full data, so you have to write a command called df.toString. If I do this, I can see each and every data. That is this lines from, okay, yeah, from 0 to 169 rows, I can see each and everything. Okay, if I just print df, I might not get it, but with toString, uh, I can, mm, it prints all data present in data frame. Okay, uh, so it's like that. Now here also we can play with this, like we can show multiple different rows, like if I just want only 5 rows or something like that, 10 rows, we can play with that. If we just do print df head, okay, just let me this. Okay, so if I do print df head, it will show me top 5 rows of the data frame. Okay. It's like that. Okay, so multiple functions are there which we can use right now, because why the reason I'm doing top 5 rows is quite needed, because sometime multiple time I have a data which in GBs, and it has, I don't know, maybe lakhs and lakhs of lines. I can't see each and every, I can't put df just like that and print every single thing. It will take a lot of minutes, a lot of, even sometimes hours also. Instead of that, I will just check the top 5 lines to see that how, what is the condition of data will be look like. So at least I will get to know this how data look like. Based on that, I can start doing my other processes. Okay, so right now it's 7:47. I will stop till here. I will look at the questions. So till now what we have discussed is very brief of pandas as a library. So we have discussed something called series, we something called labels of index, changing labels of the indexes. We have seen key values dictionary as a series. uh, Data frame, basically you deal with mostly with data frames when you talk about in pandas, how you can locate the row and how can read a csv file. If you want to read an excel file, as someone has asked, I just need to look at read excel file using pandas. I think certain function they might give. Okay, so we just go to documentation. I don't have Excel file right now, but we can use it. So I just need to use pandas.read Excel function, and I just need to give that input out that file name, basically the Excel file name, and then I have to give the sheet number. If I have, because Excel have multiple sheets in that, So I can give the sheet name as well or sheet number as well, like that. Okay. So that being said, okay, let me check uh, the questions here because the last 10 minutes are there. Okay, CSV means common comma separated files. You can check on Google as well. How to say the NP lecture to do good in exam. Uh, See, and you just need, okay, so there are some practice questions available. Maybe starting, might not get much practice questions in the NPTEL lectures because they're just giving setting a base for you to go ahead for the in the next session. Just like how in Pandas, I just gave you a very basic, like it's a basic overview of Pandas. It's not like much in that. So you have to wait for certain weeks to get to actual implementations of fun. The more you practice with those implementation problems, you will get much better in the NPTEL exam as well. Can you share this link, doc? Okay. Okay, let me share it one more time. It will provide by NPTEL as well, but let's still. Can we get internship using data analytics Python? I think I already answered that. What is manipulate? Okay, see, manipulation of data is basically like I already shown you here uh, in this. So I have already got the data with me, right? Ideally, I should not touch it. But what if I got a table like a row like this where for calories I don't have any information, right? Or I got here pulse, which should be in positive numbers, I get as a negative number or in as a float number. So I have to manipulate those data. I have to make it in a very reasonable form. So I can't have minus 90. I should have 90. Okay, I can't have any empty cell in calories. I should have certain numbers in that. So these called manipulation of the data that we're talking about. Okay. Uh, for analyzing, can we use combination letters like import pandas? Yeah, you can use any aliasing. Like when you say import pandas as AB, you can use that. PD is generally people use it a lot. That's why I told you as PD. Like it's someone like if we have done a lot of coding and I'm coming and looking at your code, I might not able to understand as AB initially. But if I just look as PD anyway, I just know that you have used pandas. Okay, so but there's no rule that you have to use PD. Okay, I'm getting error. This file not error. File not found. No file suggest. Same error is perfectly okay. So the reason is file not found error in Google Colab is because you haven't uploaded data. Data.csv. Data.csv is something I have right now in my system and uploaded that. You don't have that. Maybe data.csv might be there. Certain kind of data.csv is there in your system as well. Okay, so that's why the error is coming right now. When this session will available on YouTube, it will be available like I will after this I will stop the recording and I will upload in YouTube. I will share that YouTube link as well, Google, YouTube channel link, and by NPTEL also. Maybe in 2-3 days they should do that. Oh, I'm so sorry. The noise is there. Next time I'll try to take a environment. Like my family is, I think they're preparing something. Uh, Can you share the CSV file with you? Okay, I can share that. Okay. Probably 3, 4. How to upload data? Go. Can we use the path file? Okay, I've shown you that Google Colab that there's certain called file option there. You can use that. Why only first 5 rows are printed? Okay, that's a by default. This is something by default print file like Satyam has said. DF head is meant for that because right now I have a data CSV of 169 rows only. That's a very small data, but I have a millions and millions of data rows. At that point, only 5 rows are needed for me to get to understanding of the data. Okay. I will share the YouTube channel link right now. Can we define the number of rows which we want to print? Yes, you can define the number of rows which you want to print. It's something called as max rows, display max rows. max underscore rows. You can check that as well. I will upload the YouTube thing right now. And Satyam has already said df and head equal to 10. Also, you can do that. Uh, can we get data from database instead of CSV? Yes, you can do that as well. Like if you have a SQL table, SQL table, at that time also you can do that. Uh, uh, but for that, I have to check the function, what exactly function which you can do that. For that, little bit different things has to be done there. We install Anaconda, so do we need to install Pandas separately? Uh, Ideally, it should not be, because and Pandas are quite popular, so it should come within that Anaconda. Like if you open the Anaconda navigator, you will open Jupyter. You can check import Pandas. If it is not coming, then you can do that. Uh, can we get interested using this data analytics with Python? Uh, Okay, again, I'm telling you, this is just a data. And this course, you'll get a basic, and you'll get to know basic terminologies and basic starting point for you to go making career in data science. I will not say that you might get an internship. First, you should know. First condition, you should know what exactly the employer wants from you. What kind of technologies want from you. From here, this course, you'll get to know those technologies which you need to learn, and you'll get some basic understanding of those technologies. But I can't give a guarantee like that. For that, you have to understand the requirement of the employer as well. Okay. Can you tell where we can get practice question, practice all this skills, in which platform? Kaggle is a very good website which you can use as starting point. It's very friendly as well, user beginner friendly. Okay, here you can use machine learning, data science, and all those stuff. So Kaggle.com. Let me post that as well. Okay. So Kaggle is a very good starting point. You can look at that. There are multiple questions, multiple challenges. It's like how you get for algorithms. Kaggle.com is just one beautiful website for that. Um, can you show how to set index starting from 1 using len, as data set will be large? Using len as a dataset, I don't know how to do that. With len is the length of the function, right? I don't know how to use that. YouTube link I'm sharing, just a minute. Okay, YouTube channel, right? I need to open that also. Let me see. Just give me a minute. I'll channel. Okay. I have to create a playlist. I have to start uploading here, but let me check from where I can get it. Mm, mhm, mhm. Let me check this link whether it will work or not. Yeah, it will work. It's working. Okay. Can we use MySQL instead of Jupyter? Okay, see, yes, you can use that MySQL as well, instead of Jupyter as well. Like you're actually dealing with database directly. But when you're saying Jupyter or any other languages, it provides more different kind of functionality. Like in MySQL, you can't visualize any data. Okay, you can't play with that data as easily as you can do in Jupyter or in Python. Jupyter is just a text editor, a runtime notebook. Okay. uh, so MySQL, you can do the same things, but it will be little more complex for you. How to upload dataset in Jupyter? It's basically when I'm writing read CSV, read underscore CSV, you have to give the path of your system name. Like for example, C dot slash your whatever the folder names will be and wherever that's stored. So you have to give the path name for that. Okay. uh, so there's no WhatsApp group for this course, unfortunately, but we have a NPTEL discussion forum where multiple TAs will be there. If you have any questions, you can ask them as well. Okay, so that's the end of the session. I will thank you so much for coming. So next week Friday I will be there, and next Tuesday other TAs will be there who will use that. So thank you for this sessions. For this session, we'll meet you next time. So I will upload this thing as well in maybe in few hours. Thank you so much. So I'm ending this call.